What is going on, everybody? Tanner Phifer here with the NFL Rumors podcast. Welcome back. It has been a while. I don't think we've had a single episode this regular season. Just life has gotten in the way a lot, but we're trying to make a comeback here for the podcast. And we've got our special creator of the show and famous Twitter or X account, NFL Rumors. Welcome.
Hey, glad to be back. Very excited to be back on the podcast with you. It's always a really good time to, talk some NFL with you. Got a lot going on coming up here in the off season, and we're getting ready to hit the Super Bowl. Then, it won't be long. We'll be like right in the thick of things in the off season.
Absolutely. And that's what this episode is about, is prepping for the Super Bowl. Super Bowl Sunday is just right around the corner. And obviously we've got our latest NFL rumors and NFL news. And just a fair warning, guys, I do apologize. I've been under the weather as well. So my podcast hosting voice may not be as crisp or pleasant to listen to this time around. But anyways, guys, me and NFL Rumors here, we're going to be talking about the Super Bowl. Let's start off with that. I'm excited, I guess, sort of. It's a lot of, I guess you could talk about the Chiefs. I don't know how many people actually wanted them to go to the Super Bowl other than just Chiefs fans. There's a lot of criticism right now surrounding that.
Definitely. I think when you're looking at that, a lot of people's rooting against the three-peat of the Chiefs. That's a big topic, and come out today by the Referees Association that they said they were really aggravated, and it's like a slap in the face for them to say that they favor the Chiefs like in a cheating way, right? But honestly, when you look at the film, look at a lot of the calls, I can see why fans would tend to say some of those things.
Oh, I mean, it's clear as day. It's I'm all for it, and I'm honestly just like kind of convinced that with the Chiefs comes a lot of publicity and a lot of trendy stuff, and that's when the Patriots dynasty was over, that the Chiefs dynasty kind of began, and they found their baby in Patrick Mahomes. And I'm not trying to take anything away, like accomplishment-wise. He's been literally like the best quarterback for the last 7 years. Debatably, I mean, top 2. And obviously, I love Andy Reid in Philadelphia, and he's done great in Kansas City, so it's hard to bash him. But yeah, like you said, you look at the calls, look at the film, there's just a lot. And but I'm a Packers fan, so of course I'm going to be salty a little bit. But the Eagles, Chiefs, Super Bowl overall, who are you going to take?
I'm going to go with the Eagles in this one. I think that the Eagles have a really good defensive line, and I think that they'll be able to push up front with Jalen Carter and that group. I think that'll be a big difference. And the big difference between the Eagles and, in my opinion, the Chiefs right now is Saquon Barkley. I think they can control the clock, keep the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands. I look for it to still be a close game, but I believe I'm going to ride with the Eagles right now.
And you might have to. The thing is like it's hard to bet against the Chiefs because they always just seem to find a way to win. Or like we've talked about, calls may seem to go in their favor. But Saquon Barkley, to me, has debatably been MVP this entire season. The things he's done, the amount of like 60-plus yard rushing touchdowns he's had this year is like 6 or something. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, you're right.
I think he is. And Patrick Mahomes has not had his best season. He finished the stretch playing pretty well, but like as far as like offensive playmakers that go in this game, the only one that sticks out this year is Saquon Barkley.
Yes, and looking at that, I think Saquon Barkley. I think I might have to be corrected on that, but I'm pretty sure he's like 30 yards from breaking the playoff record for total yards by running back. And I think when you look at that, I mean, it just says what a great job that he's done. He's done a tremendous job. I look for the Eagles though. They got a really good defense. The secondary's playing a lot better. I think that's key. I think Travis Kelce could end up having a decent game because of the linebacker play. But overall, I think the Eagles will find a way to get it out. But I think Saquon Barkley will have a big game. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets 25, 30 carries in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do think that most likely the Chiefs will win. I think the league wants a three-peat, and I just think that's what's probably going to happen. But I am rooting for the Eagles. Never thought I would say that, but it's true. I'm hoping to see Saquon pop off, and hoping the Eagles can take down the Chiefs here, stop a three-peat. And I like you said, he's setting so many records this year, and it's just been two peas in a pod when he joined Philadelphia. I wasn't sure about the signing because the last several years, ever since Shady McCoy left, I feel like the Eagles were always just this running back by committee sort of, group. And then they've really buckled down with Saquon. He's their bell cow.
Yeah, A.J. Brown, I mean, he's not been really big in a lot of games of late, but A.J. Brown's still a tremendous talent, can still, get the rock for a big game. They got Devontae Smith. They got 2 1As. Even though the Chiefs has got a lot of players that can catch the ball, the Eagles is definitely receiving core-wise is heads above.
Yeah. And it was just crazy to think is such a down season for their aerial attack. I mean, obviously, when Saquon's playing the way he is, your passing offense is not going to be as relevant. But just statistically, it's crazy to see the dip in production from the receiver group here. And then they traded for that guy from the Washington Commanders. I'm blanking on the name. And he's only had 1 touchdown for him all year. And
right, I know who you're talking about too, but I just can't think of his name.
Yeah, I'm literally blanking on his name, but they traded for him. He had 1 touchdown. It may have been here in the playoffs. And but if they can find a way, if somehow the Chiefs defense, which is really good, does shut down Saquon, they box him up, it just opens up the passing game for Jalen, and he might have a chance to kind of shut up the haters and pass the ball. He gets a lot of hate, but he's brought him to another Super Bowl, so.
Yeah, and Jalen Hurts, when you think about it, you have to watch, him and Saquon together, who's getting the ball, what defensive end's going to break down on those zone runs. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, but I think it's just going to be a real close game, and I got the Eagles by a field goal right now.
Oh, boy, by a field goal?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised at all if it goes into overtime. Chiefs get the ball first, and of course, to the NFL overtime rules, they score and win. It's just what happens where Mahomes always seems to get the ball last, and of course they. I don't know. I'm a negative Nancy right now, but enough of that, guys. Everything's been about the Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl. We are here always with NFL rumors, NFL news, predictions, and off-season stuff that you guys really want to hear, and really hot takes, but also really accurate predictions and takes, because that's what we do here.
Definitely. We'll start it off. Myles Garrett, he's kind of the real hot take right now, just asking for a trade. A lot of people didn't see that coming. And he said today that he would be okay playing with Jaden Daniels of the Commanders if he got a trade, because he's actually looking to play with an elite quarterback. He feels that Jaden Daniels has showed that he can be an elite quarterback after that first year, but he's looking to play for an elite quarterback. I think when you say that, you have to start looking at some of these elites like Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm.
It's where you might have to start and look at that, because he said that in the interview, he didn't want to play with just like a flash pants, one good year kind of thing, right?
Right.
He said he wanted to play with somebody year after year that could have him competing in the playoffs.
And it's another thing is, obviously he wants to play for a contender, and as much as great as he's been in Cleveland, he knows he's not going to get that. So and we discussed it before we started recording. We did discuss the Commanders, but you also mentioned another team that I thought was not necessarily surprising if you really think about it, but something I don't think a lot of people have predicted so far. Do you want to go into that?
Well, I'll let you go into your take on Myles Garrett first, and you tell me what you think of the team. I'll let you go with that.
I think there's going to be a lot of trade inquiries about him. Now, obviously, Cleveland's let it be known that they don't want to trade him, but like, he's the type of player with the caliber he has he could hold out if he's not traded. He could be willing to take fines and stuff because he wants to play for a contender. And I don't blame him. If I was stuck in Cleveland too, I'd want to win. I thought the Commanders would be a top one, but I do think that there are a couple other teams in the mix that would probably be really going for him. The Raiders in my opinion, could be a dark horse one. Because Max Crosby wants to be winning, and he's let it be known he wants to win too. And there's been rumors the last 2 years that Max Crosby's out, that people are going to trade for him. So they may give him another piece to keep him there. And you got the whole Brady, influence, and they're going through a lot of changes in Las Vegas, and this could be something that sparks that defense more. They brought back their defensive coordinator. They, and Brady's going to be looking for a new quarterback, and who's not going to want to be part of a Brady build? Like, come on. So there's a lot of upside, and with the top pick in the draft, there could be a lot of reasons to want to go to Vegas. So I think that's a nice dark horse team, but then you mentioned one earlier, and that's the Buffalo Bills.
Right. I think the Buffalo Bills, you got Josh Allen. I think that's going to be intriguing because they know what he's going to do. And we talked about before the show, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, they're elite quarterbacks, but there's no way that Cleveland's going to trade him inside the division to face him, let them face him. A lot of people's mentioned the Packers as well. Like early on here is mentioned the Packers to get a player like him. A lot of people's mentioned the Lions has been out there. The 49ers have been out there. I think one of those, when you're looking at it though, I think it's very, very interesting to see what could happen. Then I'm going to flash right over to Cooper Kupp. He's the other big name this week. Cooper Kupp, something a lot of people need to realize about this trade. He's not going to just get traded to anybody. They're going to let him help them trade to a team that he wants to play for.
Yeah.
Right.
I think, and there's a lot about Cooper Kupp. What's your hot takes on him?
Well, right now, my hot takes with him, I like the Lions early on. I like the Steelers early on because they tried to trade for him during the regular season and it fell through.
Right? Dude, I do not see him wanting to go to Pittsburgh at all.
Well, it could be a situation. I think they had to solve their quarterback problem before they could trade for him, right? To figure
they
out
still have a quarterback problem.
Yep, Justin Fields, Russell Wilson. It seems like Justin Fields is going to be that guy, right? Justin Fields. It seems like it's going to be the guy that they're going to go ahead and take with that. So I think when you're looking at that, I think the Lions is a really good fit because the general managers there that helped draft him, then the Detroit organization, and he's really good friends with Jared Goff, and the Lions are winners. So that is something to really look at. The Vikings could be another one because he played in that system. He played there with that head coach O'Connell. And, to add there would be really big. The Bengals, another one, if they lose T. Higgins, he could be a good replacement there because the Bengals, he knows that offense as well because their head coach also comes from the Sean McVay system.
So, obviously, the Sean McVay ties run deep. But which offensive coordinator was it that he played under when he had that Triple Crown year? Was that 2021?
Yeah,
so that would have been O'Connell, I believe.
Yes, O'Connell will be it, right? And I want you to think about this, Tanner. You put Cooper Kupp together with Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, T.J. Hawkinson. I mean, you're going to have a very, very hard thing to stop. And I'm going to throw even a bigger nugget your way. Matthew Stafford is definitely another guy that could be traded or released, right? That more than likely traded. but like he's only got $4 million a guarantee. He wants a bigger amount of guaranteed money, and the Rams and him are hitting heads a little bit on their amounts, right? So that could be interesting. Just imagine, hey, I'm going to let Matthew Stafford be the starter. Let J.J. McCarthy learn from Matt for a year, and you got Cooper Kupp, him throwing the rock to Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Hawkinson.
Now, you don't think Stafford would either? I don't see him wanting traded from the Rams. I would just see I think he would want to do it year by year or retire.
Right.
But why not bring back Sam Darnold?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe offer him just a little bit cheaper deal because obviously his market. But like if you're gonna let JJ sit another year, why not just bring back Sam Darnold?
You could do that. I mean, the Raiders have been linked to Sam Darnold. So has the Giants, and the Giants have also been linked to Matthew Stafford early on. So that'll be interesting to watch what Matthew Stafford does, because there are a lot of teams that could use Matt Stafford. You're talking like the Pittsburgh Steelers. You could even put him in for the Minnesota Vikings. There are a lot of teams that Matthew Stafford could go in for 1 year and shoot for a title with.
You really think Stafford would provide what Sam Darnold did this year?
I think so. I think Matt Stafford with that elite receiving core will be very, very tough. And then I think Matthew Stafford is not very happy with the Rams right now either, because he and Cooper Kupp are really close. And from what I've been hearing, he does not like the fact that Cooper Kupp is getting traded.
I bet you Cooper Kupp once traded because his usage just dipped bad, like big time. And there was talks that he was going to be traded during the season, but they decided, well, we're kind of playing okay. They ended up making the playoffs. Let's see if we can make a run here in the playoffs. They didn't. And now they're like, okay, let's trade him.
Right.
I feel like Cooper Kupp probably does inside want that fresh start.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I think for me, my favorite landing place for him is the Lions. That's my pick, right? That's my favorite landing place for him. I know there's some other ones out there that you're hearing right now. We know the betting odds are like the Lions, Bengals, and Steelers. That's who's got the betting odds, right? But I think a lot of reason the Steelers has got those betting odds because they were a team that tried to actually trade for him in the middle of the season. They were a deal discussed. So that's going to be very interesting to look at that. One of the big news out today from The Athletic was that the 49ers are going to try to land Brock Purdy on a multi-year deal, about $55 to $60 million a season.
Yeah, do you think that's overpay or no?
I think a little. I think Brock Purdy has showed some. I think he has showed some, but I think it's definitely you got to really come out and commit to that. You got a lot of big situations, Tanner, that's going to happen. So it'll be very interesting. Another one of the big rumors out today, Tyreek Hill, who said, he went to the Miami front office. He talked to him after his tweet that went out about, hey, you know what? I'm out of here, or something of that nature. And now he's saying that he still could ask for a trade depending on what Miami did in the offseason.
Well, isn't that technically what anybody can do?
Yep, correct. But everybody's saying, hey, he's not going to be traded, Tyreek Hill. I honestly think Tyreek Hill is trying to maneuver his way back to the Chiefs.
Oh yeah, he chose the money. He chose what, $5-10 million more a year, which when you're making 20-30 mil a year, dude, like how do you get greedy? I mean, I know like an extra 10 mil is $10 million. How do you turn it down? But like if you wanted to win that badly, you wouldn't have left when they were trying to re-sign you to an extension.
Right.
You left for the Dolphins.
Exactly. One of the comments I want to, switch up to is about the draft real quick. Is Brian Callahan said he was with Joe Burrow in Cincinnati. He said the Shedeur Sanders reminded him of Joe Burrow. Now we both know that is not true, right? We both know that is not true. Shedeur Sanders is not an image of Joe Burrow. They're two different quarterbacks, actually, right? When you're looking at that, I think this might be a talk. Let me really, really spike up Shedeur Sanders to see if anyone would like to leap up to get him.
Yeah, I don't see the comparison with Burrow.
No. The Titans are going to go hard, I hear, Tanner, after Andy Dalton. And it's for him to be a backup for Tennessee, right? And whoever they get as their quarterback, they can actually have Andy Dalton kind of mentor them. That's what I've been hearing.
You see them doing with Will Levis.
Well, the Titans with Will Levis, I think they said he's going to give him a shot at the starting job. But, you know, that's what we're hearing, that he's going to work out with some of the big gurus this offseason of the quarterbacks. But I think Will Levis is going to have a tough time if they bring on a number one pick, if they use that number one pick on a Cam Ward or something like that. I think he'd have a hard time landing that job.
Yeah, I do too. I think he may start a season, but if they bring in like a veteran quarterback, like you said, like Andy Dalton, and then draft, you know, a quarterback, I think Will Levis's time is over in Tennessee.
Yeah, another one of the hotbed rumors right now is Stephon Diggs. He's a free agent this offseason. The top landing spots for him so far are the Browns, the Cowboys, and the Texans. That will be him going back to the Texans if he wanted to take a deal back there. But also the Cowboys having a chance to play with his brother. I heard that was real appealing. And then you got the Browns with the coach that he used to play for. But I think the Browns would be a real wild card if he went there, because I think it would be more of a money grab if he went to the Browns, because of their quarterback situation. Now, if they can land Kirk Cousins, which that's what I think is going to happen. I kind of been saying this for a few weeks now. I think the Browns are going to try to land Kirk Cousins. If Kirk Cousins comes, Diggs might be very appealing to come to Cleveland, because him and Cousins actually played together in Minnesota.
But Cousins is on a 4-year deal, so technically he'll either have to be traded or released.
Traded or released. And the biggest thing, Atlanta is already going to have to pay him his guarantee, Tanner. Looking over the cap at that situation, pretty much they're going to get a deal like Russell Wilson got with the Steelers, where actually the Steelers are hardly not paying anything for Russell. The next team won't hardly have to pay anything for Kirk Cousins either.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could see him playing there, but it's Cleveland to me is where you go if you want your career to die. Like, it's just no quarterback plays well. Baker did all right, you know, but then he excelled elsewhere. It's just Amari Cooper did all right. He had like one or two like 1,000-yard seasons or close to 1,000-yard seasons, whatever. But like, you just don't, man. Like, Nick Chubb was probably the best player there.
Yeah, I think Kirk Cousins definitely could be a big option there because of their head coach being together in Minnesota. I think that's something to really watch in the offseason. Kirk Cousins actually already made the comment that he's just working to get healthy, and he'll see what happens in March. I don't think he's going to take a backup role with the Falcons, and I don't think the Falcons is going to pay him all that money to sit and back up.
Absolutely not. Kirk Cousins, he's made it clear. I think he still wants to play. He wants to get healthy. I also heard that it was like week 10, whenever he started playing very, very poorly, he admitted he had some kind of shoulder injury and elbow injury that he played through. I don't know how much of that is smoke or not, but that could explain the benching and then leading up to Michael Penix Jr.
Definitely. One of the other quarterbacks that's been linked, he's kind of a vet, and Jaden Daniels had, raved about him, is Marcus Mariota. Daniels said like he's really helped him develop from the college to the pro game, helping him out day after day in the quarterback room. Supposedly the Raiders are going to try to go after Mariota as a backup quarterback. And makes a lot of sense. Chip Kelly, this is the guy that Chip Kelly's always wanted back from Oregon, right? So Marcus
Mariota he's a Heisman, right?
Yep. So I think he can teach the guy, whoever the Raiders draft, he can teach them Chip Kelly's system, right? And I think he'd be a perfect guy to teach a young quarterback Chip Kelly's system, right? I think it's a great win.
And Mariota's already been on the Raiders before.
Exactly. Correct? He has. Yep. Definitely has. And they used him as a gadget quarterback for a little bit. But I think Mariota definitely, him and Chip Kelly's close. The difference is, well, does he want to stay with the Commanders or does he want to go over and join Chip Kelly? I think that'll be his two teams, right? One of those two.
That's a great point. He'd be a nice veteran to add there, but then you can't forget about Aiden O'Connell, who has played, worthy sometimes. And, he's dealt with injuries. He's had some bad luck with the injuries. He gets hurt when he's playing well. And then who was it that was there? Gardner Minshew?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what do you think they're going to do with these guys?
Right. I think when you're looking at the Raiders, I think that I would say really watch for Shadir Sanders there. That's where I really think that'll be a very interesting. Shadir Sanders is really close to Tom Brady. They even talked after many, many games. And Shadir Sanders, that's before Brady went to broadcasting, which he had to kind of step that away a little bit. So Shadir Sanders, though, to be able, him and Brady know each other, know them since he's a small kid. So I think that the Raiders will definitely try to do their best to land Sanders. I really do. A lot of people speculate Russ there too. You know what I mean? Like Russell Wilson to get back with Pete Carroll, but I don't see it.
There's a connection there, but I think Pittsburgh's also made it clear they're going to bring back one of the two guys they have, Justin Fields or Russell Wilson.
I think it'll be Justin Fields. I really do.
You got to go with a guy who's probably like a decade younger.
Yeah.
So It's like, how do you not go with a guy who's 10 years younger, has some upside, and can fit your system and played well? I think they were like 5-0 with Fields, right?
Right, and this is very interesting. I thought that what I heard this week, everybody was thinking Tyler Lockett's going to retire at the end of the year, right? Because kind of letting the way go, he can still play, right? Had some injuries, but he can still play. He wanted to get out of the way for their young player and JSN, and but Lockett came out and said that he wouldn't mind a connection with Pete Carroll again. So possibly,
he had some of his best football under Pete Carroll.
Right. So possibly we might see, that being a piece that the Raiders might try to add, right, for that offense. But I will say this as well. It's not Pete Carroll's offense under Drew Bevel no more now, right? Because they went and hired Chip Kelly. So they're going to let Chip Kelly go and add the pieces that he wants to add to make his offense successful.
And I definitely think Chip Kelly's going to succeed way more as an offensive coordinator than a head coach. Brings me to another point. I think there's so many coaches out there that just need to stick to being a coordinator rather than head coaches.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think I'm with you. There are a lot of really good guys, but being a head coach is different. You got to get all the game plan for the offense and defense. When you're a DC, you're really focused on the defense, right? When you're an OC, you're really focused on the offense. I'll tell you an interesting Super Bowl little tidbit, right? As we talked about A.J. Brown a little bit. Mike Vrabel was asked, would he trade for A.J. Brown? Because, there are a lot of viral videos out there where he was very, very upset when the Titans traded A.J. Brown. And he said that normally a coach will come out, Tanner, and say, nah, you know what I mean? AJ's now with the Eagles. That was the past. Mike Vrabel didn't say that. He said, we'll have to see when we get to free agency.
Yeah, well, that's Patriots, right?
Yep, the Patriots. Definitely.
Don't get me wrong. I think Drake May's doing all right, and he had an okay rookie season. I think he's going to get better, but I don't look at the Patriots and think pass-friendly system, especially with Vrabel there. They're run-heavy. A.J. Brown is going to have as much production as he did with Tennessee. I mean, if that.
Yeah, they're really close, him and A.J. Brown. Mike Vrabel, A.J. Brown, not only friends, but he loved playing for him. It'll be interesting to see
A.J. Brown wanting to go there, knowing he's put up the numbers he has in Philadelphia. He would be taking a step backwards.
He'd have to waive his no trade clause.
Yeah, and his production would just dip mightily.
100%, man. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens if he goes. A lot of speculation too. We'll get to our last two for our first show. Is that the speculation Kyle Pitts is growing, right? That Kyle
yeah.
Pitts might be a person that might be on the move, because you got to get back to this: is the Falcons had a chance to re-sign him, give him a long-term deal, and they didn't. Kyle Pitts now is actually looking for a situation where I want to get a long-term deal, right? He wants some now compensation that he's protected, right, on a long-term deal. Because tight ends, if you look around the league, don't have a long life. You know what I mean when that comes down to that. So I really
been saying it for the last 2 years, dude. His time's been wasted there in Atlanta. I mean, yeah, he's had his, don't get me wrong, he's had his own issues, either getting open or maybe some easy drops, but he's made some really good catches too. I still think he's got a high ceiling. They just don't target him, and he's just like, I just feel like time is wasted in Atlanta for him.
He's really young too. He's
So
still
young.
young. Yeah, he's still
24,
young.
25.
Yeah, still really young man. A lot of people early on has linked him to the Commanders and the Bengals. So when we're looking at that, like, he could be a good replacement for some production for T. Higgins, who that'll be our last talk in just a second. But like, I think he could be a good production maker for T. Higgins, and Joe Burrow could make him elite. You know,
I think so too. But you got to think, I love Mike Gesicki, and he is. And I think he should be utilized way more in the offense in Cincinnati, and he wasn't. I mean, he had some games where he had like, 8 or 9 catches, but like, I still don't think he was getting the production he could have and provided what he could have. But if you put Kyle Pitts and Gesicki there, like, I just feel like
Gesicki's going to be a free agent though.
Oh, is he?
Yep. So it'd be like a replacement, but that would be a step up if you get Kyle Pitts.
You think he would step up?
Yep, definitely.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. Our last one, we want to talk about T. Higgins. This is the guy that's going to get paid more than anybody, likely, right? So T. Higgins, Joe Burrow is saying, hey, I think that T. Higgins will get the extension. I think Jamar Chase will get the extension. I think Trey Hendrickson get the extension. That might be a little overthought by Joe, okay, because that's a lot of money to pass around to get all those
basically
extensions.
He's like, you would have to be asking your guys to like take some kind of deal, like team-friendly deal.
Definitely. T. Higgins is not going to take a team-friendly deal.
No, I just don't see it.
I feel T. Higgins, Tanner, wants to be a number one, right? I think that's he wants to be a number one. He wants to get paid. He wants to show that he can be a true number one.
Yeah.
I look for teams like the Carolina Panthers to open up the pocketbook. I look for the New England Patriots to open up the pocket. Like, all these teams that's got tons of cap space, like the Raiders, all those guys are going to offer him massive amount of money.
What do you think about T. Higgins Packers?
I think it's a possibility. It's something that I think Josh Jacobs brought to the forefront today. He said he didn't mean to disrespect anybody, right? But they don't have a wide receiver one.
No, they do not. And Christian Watson, I think, is heading into like the final year of his rookie deal. He's always hurt. Can't stay healthy. Jaden Reed, I love the guy, but they're not using him. It's boom or bust with him. Mm-hmm. Romeo Doubs had just a fall back down to earth this year, and Dontavian Wicks, I think, led the league in drop rate. So they don't have a wide receiver one.
Yeah, and T. Higgins will be a good addition there. Some of my early likes on Higgins are the Packers. I like the Panthers. I like the Jaguars. Just a few of those. I like the Patriots. I want to look at the teams with the big cap space. A lot of people are saying Commanders, but literally, I'm going to tell you why it ain't the Commanders, in my opinion. Because at the end of the day, if he leaves the Bengals, he's leaving the Bengals to be a one somewhere. And if he goes there, he's going to be a Terry McLaurin situation.
You got Terry McLaurin. You got Curtis Samuel, who actually did pretty well. For the most part, he's reliable at least. You got the guy they traded from the Eagles. Or no, I'm sorry, they traded to the Eagles, but they did replace him. I'm blanking on the names. Let me look it up.
Denami, he had the big year, the number 2 there.
Oh yeah, Diami Brown.
He's a free agent too.
Yep.
So he's likely going to get paid, whether it's the Commanders or another team. But T.
Mhm.
Higgins, if he leaves, like I'm saying, Tanner, I think he wants to be a number one.
For sure.
Carolina would make a lot of sense to me because that will put him near where he lived, growing up in
Yeah.
around Clemson, and he's seen actually Bryce Young develop, and that would also let the Panthers know if they got what they need in Bryce Young.
And
Bring
Adam
in somebody
Thielen's like
there.
35 years old, so
And he's going to play one more year. He might be a good another wide receiver to be a complement to a T. Higgins, right?
yeah.
So I think that's what you look at. New England will open up the bank, I'm sure. They're trying
Yeah,
to
but
land
dude, I'm telling you right now, like New England, even now with Vrabel there, it's not going to be a pass-heavy system. It's just slow-paced, smash-mouth football. It's Mike Vrabel. You're going to get what you got in Tennessee. You're going to have a competitive team. It's going to be a pain in the butt sometimes, but like I just don't see, passing for 3,500, 4,000 yards seasons and 1,000-yard receivers. I don't see it.
I'll tell you a team that I actually think could be a sleeper for Higgins, Tanner, is the Titans. And the reason I say that is because of Brian Callahan being there where he was with them with the Bengals.
Yeah.
I think that could be a definitely option because he already brought Boyd in there. So I think definitely he could be an option there. Then Tennessee definitely needs a one, right?
Yeah, I
They
mean,
don't have
Burks is going to be, I think he's got one more year, but he's going to be like a free agent on his rookie deal. It just hasn't panned out for Burks. Love him, but it hasn't panned out.
He might need a change this offseason.
Yeah, for sure. And then you've got, who did they add? Was it DeAndre Hopkins or did they trade? I forget.
Well, Hopkins, they had him, then they
He's on
traded
the
him over to
Chiefs now.
Kansas City,
Yeah.
but they actually added Ridley.
That's right. Calvin Ridley with that offseason deal last year.
Right, and him and Ridley would be a good combination. When Higgins could still be the 1A, the alpha there, right? And Ridley could be the number 2 there. Right. I think the Titans, man, makes a lot of sense if they could go and get if they could show them they could get a good quarterback.
I would see the Panthers over the Titans, though.
Yeah.
But the Panthers do have that rookie Xavier that they really like.
Yeah, it'll be different. I think that he's going to get a lot of love from a lot of different teams for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just have to see it all play out. The number one thing is wondering if he's going to get into the Bengals, right? That'll be like out of the gate. See the Bengals can try to sign him, but he's projected to make at least a $30 million a season,
which is nuts.
You're right. So it's
I
going
love
to be hard,
Higgins, but I think that's an overpay. It's a match stretch. It's
going to be hard, man. Somebody even might pay him more than that, right? To get him because the wide receiver situation's weak.
I could see Ja'Marr Chase taking a more team-friendly deal, not being the highest paid wide receiver, but like top 2 or 3. But like you're not going to get him and Higgins back unless one of them takes a big cut.
Exactly. And then you're going to have to get Trey Hendrickson under a deal.
Right.
They can use some of Joe Burrow's money, like turn it into a signing bonus, and he could actually restructure some of his money if that's what he wants to do. And that's what he said he wants to do, right? But like I still think it's going to be a stretch to get Higgins back in Cincy.
I do. Yeah, I do too. All 3 of them guys, and plus other free agents that they're going to have. Those are just key.
They need a defense, man. They need to use that money and work on their defense a little bit.
And they moved on from their defensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Travis Kelce said that was a bad move for the Bengals. He said he thought Lou Anarumo was a good player, a good coach. They just didn't have the talent that he used to have. He said that he had a hard time going against them.
They lost a lot of talent that last offseason, dude.
Yeah, Jesse Bates was their biggest loss.
Oh, for sure. For sure, yeah. And that was a big hit, but that defense kind of fell apart. It's like one thing after another with the Bengals. They're either letting them down with the offensive line, but now it's the defense. It's still the offensive line, but it's still they're not helping Burrow out much.
Definitely not. It'll be interesting to see what Keenan Allen does too this offseason. Keenan Allen, he was I watched a lot of film where he was still open in games, but he was missed on throws. Jim Harbaugh the other day said that he would be open to bring Keenan Allen back if he was interested on a deal, if they both could come together on a good deal. And it wouldn't shock me if Keenan Allen moves to another team, because when you're looking at it, the Bears has got DJ Moore, they got O'Dunes. Likely he'll bring in, Odunze. He'll actually bring in another player, likely from Detroit, that probably knows the system, a wide receiver.
Oh, yeah. And that, like, I knew Keenan Allen's signing with the Bears was like a whack deal.
Right. I think Chargers is like, that's his team. He's still really close. He's still really close to the quarterback there, Herbert. So, and he didn't go on a bad terms. Like, he always says good things about the Chargers. So it could be a situation. Chargers need a wide receiver that they could get Keenan Allen on a 1-year solid deal.
I love it, man. Thank you so much. You guys were right here about 40 minutes into the podcast. So welcome back, guys. We really, really appreciate you listening. We hope you enjoy your Super Bowl Sunday, but we're going to be coming at you all off season with the latest rumors, roster cuts, predictions, trades, salary cap issues, all of it. You guys follow NFL Rumors on Twitter. You know exactly what you're going to get.
Yeah, it's really excited to be back on the podcast. Really excited to have my man here, Tanner, back at it, and really happy with everything, and really grateful for all the wonderful people that support NFL Rumors. Hey, make sure you go and follow my guy Tanner. Man, he's got a lot of good news, a lot of good stuff coming out, a lot of good comparisons. Let's get that going, and let's have a great off season. Your number one spot for all your off-season news, NFL Rumors.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you so much. Make sure you follow us both on Twitter, and we're all over Instagram too now. You guys subscribe to the NFL Rumors podcast. You're going to get everything here for all 32 teams. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you later.
See you later, guys.
Let me end record.